Hello tanks and tankettes, and welcome to what is kind of a stand-in replay today. I'd hoped to sit down and record some Crusader Kings 2, but as it's turned out, something's come up, so I just don't have nearly enough time for that. However, I do still have time to do something, so here is one from my pile of replays. Now this is a slightly unusual sight because it's me in a tier 10 medium tank, it's the Centurion Action Mark 10, and although I am platooned up with Circle and Snooze, they're both in Death Stars. And I don't know why I hadn't taken mine. Maybe I'd already played it during the course of whatever evening this stream took place in, and just fancied something a bit different. I don't know. But that could make a big difference because, of course, the Death Star, it can do a lot of damage, but it's not the most reliable machine in the world. Whereas this thing has got a very, very nice gun indeed. Now this is actually going to be my ace tanker in the Centurion Mark 10. And if you'd looked at my service record, you'd have seen that, in theory, I already had one, except I didn't really. That was actually showing my ace tanker for the phj.wotreplays. So this really is my ace in the Action 10. So I've gotten to the initial spotting position. I mean, this is a tier 10 medium. I have optics on it, and I did manage to get a couple of hits into the E100. Also hit that enemy scout there, but well, I don't seem to have picked up anything else that's going to the town. And I don't know if I just picked the wrong bush. It is possible. Or it might just be that I got really unlucky and everybody else that crossed in the south there just crossed really far back. I don't know. Because this is a well-known position. I mean, the north on Fisherman's Bay, if you get here quick enough with a medium or a scout, and the enemy team is crossing far too far forwards, then you can basically light up everybody. But in this case, no, we've only spotted like 3 tanks so far. It's a bit disappointing. However, I have gotten some damage in. I may even have gotten a second blind hit on the E100 as he was passing. So I'm going to relocate now, see if I can't get some spotting or whatever over here. This thing, I mean, the gun depression is really good. The armor on the turret will work sometimes, but you don't rely on it. But it certainly is more reliable than the FV4202 turret armor was. And, well, is, because that's now a tier 8 premium, of course. But, yeah, that thing was just, it just ate every shot into the turret, pretty much. This will still eat a fair few shots, but you will occasionally bounce things as well. However, the gun handling is such, and the gun depression is such, that you can really minimize your exposure. It really is a very nice machine. And I have to say, even before this came in, the tier 10, even with the previous tier 10 British medium, the British medium line generally was, I think, and probably still remains, one of the most kind of consistent pain-free grinds that I've ever had in World of Tanks. Just everything from, well, even the Crusader, arguably, even though technically it's a light tank, the Crusader all the way up to tier 10. I mean, I didn't really have a bad time in any of them. And I know some people dislike the Comet because it does have lackluster penetration, but it has other qualities that kind of make up for it. However, if you're tier 9 in a tier 9 game, yeah, it can kind of suck out, but that's the same with every tier 7 medium basically. But apart from that potential weakness for some people, you know, some people are going to dislike the Comet, but the rest of the line I felt was very nice indeed. Now I decided to push up here and be a bit aggressive because it doesn't really look like I mean, in terms of what's going on in the town, the Action 10 is not the best machine to use over there, whereas over here I can actually use my gun depression, and although it's a little bit risky as there's artillery, because there is this little rise here to my left, that little bit of high ground, that's going to make it much harder for RT to hit me. Now I put one into the 121 turret, and I'm about to make a mistake here because he's now pre-aimed. I'm going to try my luck again, and bam, into the turret. So that is nearly 500 hit points that I really didn't need to give away. That was a very poor decision on my part. Now I have learned from my mistake. I'm not going to do that again. I'm actually going to get up under his gun. And his gun depression is such that he can't do anything about me now being here. He's got to move, essentially. I also spot artillery, hooray! Well, that's one scumbag we can take out the equation, so we'll just auto aim, pop over, and bam! We get a high roll and actually kill him, so that's quite nice. So that's one less RT to worry about, and I can now just work this ridge line a bit. Although this is a slightly tricky position because there's 3 enemy tanks there, and without somebody flanking around. I mean, we've got decent numbers over here. There's a pair of tank destroyers further back. There's actually 3 183s in this game, but 2 of them, of course, driven by Circle and Snooze, are elsewhere. But the third one is over on this side. The Rheinmetall is here, T-57 here, Heavy is here, and the 1390 is here as well. And it's just a matter of well, who's gonna be the first to take the hit. And we do have the 57 Heavy with his hit points, but there we go, 5100 is out of the equation. That's quite useful. But of course, what we're facing is one autoloader and well, the 121. We've already seen how powerful that gun is as well. So I don't really want to lose any more health myself here. And oh, well, hello. Well, I've taken the attention of the 212A. Okay. TVP looks like he might be poking, not sure. He takes a hit. 57 Heavy's peeking around a bit, so I'm going to take the opportunity to jump over. Okay, there we go. However, that was a rather long manoeuvre to actually do that, and I've taken another hit in the process. And I think that one, that was worth taking the chance, and I actually got a hit into the 121 as well. So that was a 2-for-1 trade. That was a good trade of health. But the previous trade was not, because that was just giving away health for free. Now that was kind of lucky. That was into the 121's turret. That was not really an aimed shot and actually did pen. 1390 has died, unfortunately, but the TVP has as well. And another rather hastily taken shot, but you can get away with shots like that in this gun, or with this gun, a lot more than other machines I've played. Now this shot I'm about to take here was just frankly incredible. I could not believe it even as I took it. I was just... It's one of those shots you take because you think, why the hell not? I'm not going to run out of ammo anytime soon. And it actually worked. So I don't know, Orange Jesus was on my side. And another one! Although that was more into the side of the tank, so that kind of makes sense. If I got into his side armor, then okay. With that first shot, I have no idea where that penned him. Like, if it was a turret penetration, then I got incredibly lucky. And if it somehow penned his hull and didn't ping off at that angle, I don't know. Anyway, so unfortunately we've lost the town. Snooze died a little while ago. We didn't really have a lot in the way of top tier heavies. I mean, we had the T-57 Heavy who was on this flank, and then we had Snooze and Circon. But of course, in the 183s, they've got such a long reload that even if they fire and hit their mark and do a lot of damage, it's not necessarily gonna do them any good, because at that point enemy tanks will just roll forward and stomp them, and I think that's exactly what happened to Snooze. We also had an E100 who I think was in the town as well, but it was just a matter of numbers. I don't think we had enough numbers there. And me having come over to this flank has gotten things moving over on this flank, but we haven't won yet. We do have a numbers advantage. It's 10-6, so we've still got more tanks left alive by far. But of those remaining tanks left, well, the 125 is quite a potent machine. There's a Foch 155 and an Object 268. There's also that T32. He's not really a big threat, but those 3 tier 10s plus the artillery, they could be a problem. However, the fact I haven't seen artillery having come over here, I mean, I was rather cautious because I'm now a one-shot for either of those tank destroyers. And I don't want to get caught unawares. But the artillery, he's either retreated into town or he's gone to K0. You can place your bets now as to where he's actually retreated to. It's not really going to be a big surprise. I'll say that right now. So the 268's just taken down the Centurion, and they can't really press forward because they know this guy is being protected by the 2 tank destroyers. But for myself, as long as they light him, I've got perfect sight shot, so I take him out. However, the 268 strikes again, and Circon is now down for the count as well. Meanwhile, the Foch appears. I know I'm spotted, so I take a hastily aimed shot, which actually does connect but doesn't pen, and get over the road. So I've got that little rise in between me and him. I'm also still slightly wary of artillery at this point. I didn't know he was in K0. I thought he might have retreated to the town, but no. Okay, we know he's there. So, we have lost a couple of more tanks. I am now a one-shot kill for these tank destroyers. And this is the point where I really wish I hadn't traded away that health for nothing. I hadn't taken that 121 hit in the turret for no good reason, because that would be really useful right now, having that extra nearly 500 health. I could potentially survive a hit from either of these tanks, and that could be crucial. The Foch gets spotted making a move, probably by me, and that's really unlucky, but I can't complain too much. I've had some incredibly lucky shots so far in this game. I'm now sitting at over 6,000 damage, and so I really can't complain too much, can I? Some of the shots I've just, like the T110E5 especially, and some of the other shots I've taken, they've been very, very chancy and they've connected. So when you get that kind of shot in this kind of circumstance, it's harder to complain about it. But sometimes when you get that kind of shot and it's actually really crucial and then it misses anyway, it's a bit vexatious, to say the least. Now, we know the 268 was last spotted here, and I am being fairly cautious and seeing if I can spot him. I'm not going to go too gung-ho, but I'm not seriously expecting him to be where he was last spotted, except surprise! Yes, he is! And he snapshots me on the move. He's actually, you can tell he was moving there, he just turned and fired and hit me. If I hadn't gone up over that little rise, if I just kind of sat, peeked, pulled back, maybe I could have gotten away with it, but he also got really lucky with that shot. I mean, I kind of feel like I shouldn't feel too bad about that. That was just, in a way, bad luck. But if I'd had the hit points, I could have survived. I could have survived, so there's that. So we know where he is. I mean, I was not expecting him to be there. I don't think anybody was expecting him to still be there in his last spotted position. He'd obviously moved up at some point because he got some kills. And oh, there we go, the 57 Heavy goes down as well. He'd gotten some kills. So he'd obviously moved and then gone back to that position, and I can't quite figure out why. Artillery, meanwhile, gets a hit in as well. Rheinmetall looks like he's going to try. No! Well, rip. Rheinmetall goes down. However, the pattern does take him from behind. So we fed him an extra couple of kills. And I think we were all on the stream watching at this point going, oh my god, don't lose this. Don't lose this. But, yeah, we're not going to, fortunately, because that would be really galling. So it's come down to, I've cut out about a minute there, it's come down to the fact that we're going to have to cap. And both of the surviving non-artillery are fortunately fast enough to get to the cap in time. We know the RT is in K0. Even if we were inclined to go and winkle him out, which would be risky, there just isn't time. This is a long-standing gripe with this map. I mean, Wargaming has known this about this map for a very, very long time, that artillery can go and do that, and it's not been fixed. So someday, eventually, maybe they will do something about that, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So we're going to win by cap. This is one of those rare times when, yeah, okay, let's cap, because we're going to lose otherwise. There's really no other choice here. And it's slightly annoying having to leave that last RT alive, but if he's going to use map exploits, then we can tell exactly what kind of player he is. So, as promised, this was an ace tanker, and it wasn't just the damage done, but it was the spotting and assistance damage as well. So it was ace tanker, high caliber, Confederate, and tank sniper, because I actually managed to get a fair bit of damage out of that T110E5 alone. I think I got most of his health, and that was enough to put me well at the top of the team. What I was saying at the top about, you know, the 183 not being reliable, I mean, Circon's there with 700 damage, Snooze had like 1300 damage, so if they'd been running around in mediums, I don't think I'd have gotten quite the damage I did. But as it was, that really nice, reliable British gun came into play, and I was able to get a pretty good result. I was really quite pleased with that, as you can imagine, even if it did have that rather anticlimactic ending of being snapshotted by the 268, which was just unlucky. But again, having said what I said about missing that shot on the Foch, I can't complain about unluck, that's a word, bad luck too much, considering some of the shots I pulled off. So hopefully you've enjoyed this bit of Tier 10 British action, and if you have, you can leave any comments below, you can hit the like button, you can sub to my channel if you aren't already, and as always, stay tuned for more.